LoreWarrior Armour, Behemoth Heavy Tank. Overview. In 2947, Aldous Industries, soon to be the producer of the Demolisher and the Shrek, received a commission to produce a super heavy tank for House Davion. Their assignment was to forego maneuverability and speed in the interest of heavy armour and massive firepower. 5 years later, Aldous released the 100-ton Behemoth Heavy Tank. Many studies had shown that a tank's main weakness was its inability to deal with superior numbers of smaller units, such as infantry or scout vehicles. Another study showed that a main battle tank must have at least one very powerful weapon to be able to stand up against even the lightest mech. The Behemoth's design resolved both of these issues. With two of the heaviest cannon available and numerous smaller weapons, the Behemoth is a match for almost any combat situation. Capabilities. Two Sarlon maxi cannons give the Behemoth heavy firepower with long range. Using these weapons, a hit scored against other battlefield vehicles will almost guarantee a kill. These two are extremely deadly, even against many mechs. The long-fire light missile racks give the Behemoth added long-range hitting capability, and to allow the Behemoth to withstand extensive damage, the design uses 4 smaller missile racks, rather than 2 or even 1 larger rack. One lucky hit might take out a single rack, but it would take 4 lucky hits to disable all of them. As the racks are mounted forward-facing on the back of the tank, they can fire over small hills without exposing the tank to enemy fire. The 2 Harvester 20K SRM-6s are a time-proven weapon used on many vehicles. They're added to the Behemoth's arsenal to provide extra firepower, as short-range missiles provide the best killing power against vehicles. The Aldous engineers added the Behemoth's other weapons with 4 Harvester 2K SRM-2s and the 4 main fire miniguns as an afterthought. To give it the extra firepower, the engineers decided to sacrifice armour. The original commission called for 21 tons of armour, but the final design uses 13. The lighter weapon's main purpose is to destroy smaller units that the tank's main weaponry may not have time to deal with. 1 SRM-2 and 2 miniguns are mounted in a ball turret on the right and left sides of the Behemoth, which gives its weapons wide arcs of fire. The remaining 2 SRM-2s are mounted in a half turret in the front. The Behemoth's very heavy armour is equal to that mounted on some of the most powerful mechs and can withstand almost any attack. The armour is built in plated sections for easier removal and repair. The tank's main drawback then is its slow speed. Because its maximum speed is only 32 kph, the Behemoth might not be able to regroup or retreat at a crucial moment, and could end up being overrun in prolonged battles. Battle history. Although the Behemoth's history includes many famous incidents, Aldous Industries especially likes to promote the tank's successes during one of House Steiner's raids on Kuritan space. After some hasty planning for the assault, the Steiner commanders put any available unit into action, and the force included several heavy mechs, 3 infantry companies, and 1 Behemoth. The raid's main purpose was to prevent a Kurita attack group from reaching the site of a battle being waged 200 kilometers away. The original plan called for a series of hit-and-run raids against the Kuritan forces, in order to draw them out into the open where they would then be overwhelmed by long-range firepower of the mechs and the Behemoth. The infantry could then mop up whatever was left. As it turned out, the Kuritan troops were closer to the battle than expected, and in order to engage the enemy as quickly as possible, the Steiner mechs and infantry left the slower Behemoths behind. Looking for something to destroy, the Behemoth eventually found a fairly large fuel dump some 30 kilometers to the east. It had been camouflaged to avoid being spotted from the air. Not seeing any enemy troops, the Behemoth closed in for what looked like an easy kill. Unfortunately, a Kuritan Spider had remained behind to protect the base, and before the Behemoth knew what hit it, the Spider had planted a solid kick to the tank's right side, slightly damaging the armour. The Behemoth's crew tried desperately to swing the turret around, but the Spider had already jumped and escaped the attack. The Behemoth crew decided on a desperate course of action. Hoping that their heavy armour would protect them and thinking that the Spider wouldn't follow, the crew drove the tank into the middle of the dump, and then attempted to blow up the whole base by opening up with every weapon they had. Though they didn't manage to destroy the whole base, they did succeed in creating so much smoke and fire that the Spider's sensors were now useless, and they were firing on even terms. Strangely enough, the Spider's superior mobility proved to be its undoing, as for 2 hours the Behemoth and the Spider played a game of cat and mouse with each side scoring the occasional hit. As the battle raged, the Spider unwittingly jumped 3 meters in front of the Behemoth, which immediately fired all of its weapons and destroyed both of its legs. The MechWarrior immediately surrendered when the Behemoth crew threatened to run their 100-ton tank over its head. Variants. The Behemoth is one of the few vehicles without a history of variant models. There have been a few instances where flamers have replaced the tank's SRM-2s, but these occurred on a purely individual basis. The main modification has been when individual unit commanders decided to strip the Behemoth of its roomy internal crew compartment to make space for transporting extra equipment or supplies. 5 crewmen can normally sleep and eat in relative comfort in this extra spacious compartment. Notable vehicles and crew: Enrique Arlene, Arthur Jones, Diana Holster, Lawrence Rashid, and Nick Hyde. These 5 crewmen guided their Behemoth, the Mama's Boy, on the Cretan raid so widely publicised by Aldous Industries, and since that time each was given a commendation, promotion, and a movie contract with Innisphere Productions, a subsidiary of Aldous Industries, to star in a children's action TV show. Joe Smith, John Smith, Arthur Dinsdale, Alex Raxis, and Joanne Richelieu. Moore's Bandits has an unusually high number of vehicles considering the fact that they're a mech regiment. The Moore commanders recently bought a Behemoth to test its capabilities. The Shambling Ace has already proven itself admirably in 3 major battles. The only 100-tonner in 3026, as the TROs go, it's a tracked movement with a power plant of an ICE R200, crews of 22, flank of 32, with Arc Shield Max 2 armor. It has 2 Sarlon maxi cannons, 4 long-fire light missile racks, 2 Harvester 20k SRM-6s, 4 Harvester 2k SRM-2s, and 4 main-fire miniguns. Manufactured by Aldous Industries with communication system the Olmsted 30, and targeting and tracking provided by the Surtees Ballista Check and the Surtees Rocket Check. So it's a 2 and 3 move, obviously incredibly slow. It has a IC engine, and its armor is 46 on the front, 38 on the sides, 40 on the back, and 46 on the turret. It is a slab of metal with missiles and guns. So the Sarlon maxi cannons, since it makes it sound like it's Gauss rifles or something, it's a pair of AC-10s with 20 shots, so 10 for each cannon. Not too bad, not too bad. Quad LRM-5s with 48 ammo in total, split between the 5 launchers, plenty of time in the fight. 2 SRM-6s with 30 for those 2, so 15 rounds of fire each. And then quad SRM-2s with 50 shots spread amongst those, so again, plenty of staying power. And then the machine guns, which have about 200 rounds of fire split between the 4, so that thing's never going to run out before either the tank's destroyed or all the enemies are dead. It's a beast. Still quite a threatening creation, definitely something that you don't want to fight close up if anyone was stupid enough to get in front of this thing, because the way that the weapon systems work on this is that the AC-10s and the LRMs are in the... Well, the AC-10s are in the turret, the SRM-6s are in the turret, and then you've got the LRM-5s are on the front hull, the SRM-2s, 2 of them are on the front, but then you've got 2 of them that point to the left and right, so it can shoot to its immediate sides there, so there's no kind of flanking without risking being shot, and that's if the turret doesn't turn to shoot you, because AC-10s don't have minimum range. So it's got the equivalent fire of an AC-20 in 1 round. It can't overheat. Its only major drawback, is its speed, really. Otherwise, it's a pretty solid firing platform. The kind of thing that you would probably just bed down somewhere on the map, keep it out of sight as much as possible, and then use it to roll out each turn, probably with its 2 hex movement, so it only has the +1 to its difficulty to hit, and then just lobbing some shells and LRMs at a target that's an opportune target, and then any fire that returns to it, it can roll back if it needs to, or you can just set it up in a position where it's like, you can move over here, but as soon as you do, this thing's gonna open up with everything it's got and tear you a new one. But the idea that this thing originally called for 21 ton of armor, oh my god, the thing would have had so many hit points. That version of it, I would have been interested to see if it had stripped back a lot of the SRMs and just had the LRMs and the AC-10s for 21 ton of armor. That would have been an interesting and frankly terrifying 100-ton tank to face. Not too bad looking either. I don't dislike this. It's a bit busy in the line art, but I can see everything easy enough. What the design is going for. I like the fact that it has like the little sub turret underneath on the right there of the hull for aiming the SRM2s and the machine guns. That's pretty groovy. I like the fact that it's so big that it even has like basically living quarters for the crew inside. It's yeah, it's decent. It's a cool looking tank. I think I've seen a mini of this. I think the bro's friend has got one, maybe 2 of these things, and if I remember correctly, yeah, they are big. They're very solid, like massive lump of lead back in the day. Yeah, not a comfortable thing to lug about. Let's put it that way. But yeah, the Behemoth, the last tank of TRO 3026. I'll be moving over to some of the later TROs that included vehicles. I believe that might actually be, if it's not 3055, it might be 3058. I can't remember, but one of those two anyway. So yeah, thanks for listening. Catch you next time for the final vehicle that will be in there, the Neptune submarine.